What up? What up? What up? It's your boy, Cauveé, Inspiration Engineer. You already know what it is. I got a message for you, and it's a message that I didn't plan nor intend to actually give, but I heard a quote over the weekend that disrupted my ecosystem just a little bit. Not in a way that I didn't know, but one of the panelists, the whole conversation around relationships and everything that he said really disrupted me. So we got to get into this today. My message today is, are you your true self? Now, if you have not ever been here with Cauveé, I'm Cauveé. If you've never been here, welcome. If you don't know who I am a life coach, strategist, and musician hybrid. I go by Inspiration Engineer, but it's not about me. It's about the message that I want to give to you, because what I'm finding is there's a lot of human beings that don't love themselves, which I never really knew. But the quote that came out of this weekend, it says, people love you to the degree you love yourself. People love you to the degree that you love yourself. And I was moved by that, because the majority of the questions that this gentleman, his brand name is Stephen Speaks, and he was giving a lot of relationship, like dating advice, and everybody had different questions. But the first solution for all the questions, I mean, they were all different. He said, you need to heal. You need to heal, which basically what he's saying is we are disconnected from our true self. And it got me thinking about my family, for an example. Now, I love my family, but I'm going to keep it 3,000 with you. I'm going to keep it all the way 100. My family is what some might call passive aggressive, right? If you say something to them that they don't like, or you do something to them that they don't like, they're going to suppress it and push it down, kind of sweep it under the rug and act like it didn't happen. And unless it's big enough, they're not going to say anything. Unless it's like grandiose, they're not going to snap off and pop off at you. They're going to just hold it inside, and then it's going to build up to a blow up. That's my family. Now, why do I tell you that? I tell you that because I'm realizing that's humankind. There's so many people that are suppressing their real nature, their real life. They're suppressing what they really want, what they really desire, how they really feel, and what they really want to say. They are suppressing it. Facts. So people are disconnected with themselves because they're not allowing themselves to really express what's on their mind, on their heart, and on their spirit. Facts. So you say, well, Cauveé, why do we do that? And I think it's for a few reasons. I think, first off, with my family specifically, they don't want to cause conflict. We don't want conflict. We think conflict is bad. They don't want to disrupt the feathers. Let's not ruffle the feathers. Let's just pretend it didn't happen. Your spirit is holding on to that. You got to let that out. Let that go. Now, conflict doesn't have to be aggressive. It doesn't have to mean we're going to fight. It could just mean you say, hey, man, Cauveé, I really love you. I really appreciate you. I really respect you. But when you said this or when you did that, that made me feel this way. And I would really appreciate it if you would do it this way. Right? That way I know that you got it off your chest. I know. And now we're in alignment. Now I got a choice to make. I could do it again and be kind of a jerk, or I can make some changes. We're in alignment now. But if you just suppress it, like, oh, that didn't happen, like we're just going to bypass it, you're not being your true self, which is an example of what I think is happening with humanity. People are not living in one of our core values at Cauveé Global is 3,000% transparency. So divorce is so high. People are doing so many things in relationships and business partnerships, dealing with humankind, that they're not really being real. That's what I'm seeing in the market. I'll give you an example. So one of my friends, she bought a house, right? And she got to this house, and she has this event productions business, and she fell into some money and she bought a house. And I was like, congratulations. Like, that's awesome. I was like, what's going on with the event business? And she said, I'm not doing the event business. I was like, well, what do you mean? Why not? Like, why didn't you put the money into the event business? And she said, because my parents don't want me to. I was like, what do you mean? You're a 28-year-old woman. Why? You don't need your parents' advice. Like, what? Okay. And they don't want you to put what? And she goes, well, they didn't want me to, so I didn't do it. Now, this young woman, she lives in a 4-bedroom house by herself. Big old house. I said, are you going to rent out the other 3 rooms? She said, no. I said, why not? She said, because my parents don't want me to. Is this your parents' house or is this your house? Whose house is it? Now, granted, I found out later that the family's involved, right? There's some monetary things happening, but still, you live in the house. You're managing the house. You're taking over the house. So many people are suppressing what they really want, what they really desire, because they're worried about how someone else is going to receive the information. They're worried about how that response, if they tell the truth, if they tell their truth, that is going to ruffle the feathers. So she chose to be dissatisfied with life and not go for her passion because she didn't want to upset her family. Does this relate to you? Do you know anybody that's making these kinds of choices? Which brings me to, I call it my Jim Rohn, because he says, don't listen to the 85%. 85%. I've been talking about paradigms all this week, and 85% of people are not living the life they want to live, right? Does it make sense that you're going to go up to somebody who's overweight and obese and say, hey, could you help me get a 6-pack of abs? We're not going to do that, right? Like, we're not going to go up to somebody that doesn't have what we want and get feedback to get what we want. However, the majority of us are talking to our parents, talking to our teachers, talking to our friends, talking to our network, looking at the news, looking at things that do not give us where we want to be in life, thinking that we're going to be able to get some wisdom. That is facts. That is happening, which is causing the disconnect. You want to be connected to your passion and your true self and your real self, but you went and talked to this person that's not living the way you want to live, thinking that they're going to give you some wisdom. And in this case, she's a prime example, talking to her parents. They don't run a business. They don't run a business like hers. So she's living disconnected to what she really wants to do because of what her surroundings say. Not being her true self. Does that make sense? So the question becomes, how do you love yourself more? Now, what a lot of people don't understand is that they are creating distractions to disconnect them from reality, whether it's drugs and alcohol, or some type of substance abuse, or whether it's TV and movies and something else, to disconnect them from who they really are. A lot of people are not spending enough time with themselves to really know, who are you? Do you know who you are? Do you know what you like, what you love, what you dislike? Are you communicating what is your truths? These are all questions that I think we as humankind need to explore so that we can be in nature, in our truth, living in our truth. Whether that is somebody impacted you maybe negatively, or maybe the way you received it, or whether that be living in your fullest potential, the way you want to live life. This is your life. It's not her parents' life. It's her life. And this is your life. And you want to do the thing that's going to bring your heart joy and excitement. Does that make sense? I was talking to a gentleman just the other day. I grew up with him. Pretty much I've seen him, or I've known him, I should say, since he was a little guy in elementary school. And when he was in elementary, like 3rd, 4th grade, they prophesied over him that he's going to go to the league. He's going to go to the NBA. He was a basketball player, a phenomenal basketball player, and actually did make it to the NBA D League, and then became #1 freshman in the country in the United States, and then went and played overseas, right? And me and him haven't talked to him forever. And we got on a call just the other day, and he said, you know what? He called, my old nickname was Meat Time. So he was like, you know what, Meat? He's like, man, what I really respect and appreciate about you is that you haven't changed. You've been true to who you are. And I love that about you. He said, I know we don't connect on a regular basis, but I love the fact that you have not changed. And I've been watching from a distance. And that really warmed my heart. And I don't share that with you to impress you, but to impress upon you. That let me know, like, man, that's cool that somebody sees, like, it's still authentic. It's still real. I'm still me. Like, I'm not changing due to no money or anything else. Like I'm me. Like, and I think you can be you. And you just got to figure out who you are and what you really care about and what really means truth to your heart, spirit, and mind. Now, what's interesting here is the Lord, right? The Lord has a saying, and I've got them here that I want to show you guys, which is Matthew 19:19, 22:39, and then Mark 12:31, where he says, love thy neighbor like yourself. Love your neighbor like yourself. How can you love your neighbor like yourself if you don't love yourself? Ooh, it's powerful. How can you love your neighbor if you don't know how to love yourself? You haven't figured that out yet. So how do you love yourself? How do you get in touch with your true self? I would tell you based on what I've learned and based on what I've heard and based on what I've experienced. Remove the distractions, remove the substance abuse, whatever that is. Remove the TV, remove the phone, remove the things that are disconnecting you to spend time with you, to figure out who you are and what you like and what you love. Remove the distractions. The question I get all the time is, Cauveé, how do you find your passion? And I titled this part of my presentation today to understand that life is an experiment. I think not only are we listening to the 85% that I referenced earlier, the people that aren't living the life that we want to live, and I want to elaborate on that just a little bit, right? 85% of the world, men and women worldwide, hate their job, hate it. That is a fact. You can look that up. Someone did the research already. So with that said, that means that people are spending 5 or 6 days out of 7 hating their job. I like what Robin Sharma says. He says, majority of people are deteriorating children. At one point in time, they had a vision, they had an imagination, they had a dream, they had goals, and then they started settling. Maybe they got married, or maybe they had kids, or maybe they got in a job, but then they just settled and life just went. So the 85% are people that we're listening to that are not providing us the wisdom that we're looking for. So we're listening to the wrong people. So how do you find your passion? Treat life like an experiment. I brought that up for a very specific reason. When we treat life like an experiment, we're open to being flexible and we're open to learning, and we're understanding that when someone gives you advice or when somebody gives you wisdom, whether this is a part of the 85% or not a part of the 85%, they're giving you the advice from their experience. And I love what my brother Cullen Haskins says. He says, it's not right, it's not wrong, it's indifferent, and it's based on my experience. What you're hearing from Cauveé today is based on my experience. And what my experience says is that society got it wrong. Oh, they got it wrong. Are you hearing me? Society says your hobbies and your creative talents, they're over here on the right side. Your business skills are over here on the left. And if you want to make money, you got to use your business skills to serve. And so many people aren't using what they really love or the things they used to do as a kid because it doesn't make money, or because they haven't figured it out, or they haven't figured out how to, which is what we do in Brand Builders, how to merge the two and create something unique that eye has not seen, ear has not heard, and bring that to the world so that they're still tapped into the things that they love to do. What did you love to do when you were a child? What was that? Back in elementary school, I was the oddball. They was playing Foursquare with the red ball and doing their whole thing, or playing soccer. And me and my friends was playing Power Rangers. I was the Green Ranger, by the way. Facts. So treating life like an experiment. How do you find your passion? Try everything. You don't know what you don't like or what you do like until you try it. It's just like going to a buffet and looking at a whole bunch of food. It's like, well, I don't know if I'm going to like that until I taste it. So taste it all. Anything that's, righteous, don't go kill nobody and nothing like that. But try everything to figure out what sticks. And then once you find that thing, because that's the next question, well, Cauveé, then how do I know when I find it? When time just flows by, you just lose all track of time because you're having so much fun and joy doing X, Y, or Z, right? Maybe it's writing, maybe it's painting, maybe it's drawing, it could be a lot of things. I mean, it could be a lot of things. You won't know until you try it. But when you find it, pursue that. I was going through one of my community members' stories today. He don't even know. He said, one of my biggest fears is you will see me how I see myself. That was by Joseph Michael. And that got me thinking. Loving yourself does not mean you love every single thing about yourself. That's not what that means. Loving yourself means you find what is true to you. You find what you love, your passions, and what you like. But everything about Cauveé, I don't love everything about myself. Majority, and I shouldn't say majority, all humans are born under sin. So everybody has a darkness to them, what they do behind closed doors. And you're not going to like that part about you, possibly. I know I don't like it about me. I know what mine is. I know what I struggle with. I know what I deal with. But it is what it is. I accept it. I acknowledge it. It's part of me. It doesn't mean I love that part of me. But I love who I am. I love what I represent. I love my values. I love my beliefs. I love how the gift I was given to give to the world. I love how I serve. Right? And here's the thing, guys. This is what I need you to understand. So important. The narrative goes that you were selected one of 10 million sperm. There were 10 million potential seeds, and God chose you. You were chosen. That's a hand selection. Now, even if that, I don't know how they've measured it to know it's 10 million, right? But let's say it's a million. Let's say it's 100,000. 1 out of 100,000 is still phenomenal. You're here for a reason. There was something about you and a passion and a purpose in you that was to be given to the world. Facts. But if you're not doing that, not only are you disserving or ill-serving yourself, you're ill-serving the world of possibilities because you were put here to make change and impact on people, which is also fact. I love what someone said in my group. They said, people want validation from others before they have it from themselves. And I said, poetry snaps. That's exactly what the problem is. Everybody's trying to get validated from others, validated their dream, validated their ideas, validated their products, validated their service before they love it themselves or love themselves for themselves. You got to love you first. That's the way it works. When I started making merchandise, it was funny. I didn't make merchandise for the world. I made merchandise because I wanted to wear certain things. And so I made it for me at first. And I got excited. I was like, this is what I love to do. And if you're listening to the 85% aren't living their dream and they're not going to see it for you. I'll never forget, I was 5 years old. My dad said, you can be anything you want to be, do anything you want to do, anything you put your mind to, son, you can be. Around age 9, I said, Dad, I figured it out. He said, what, son? What did you figure out? I said, I figured out what I'm going to do with my life. He said, what is it? What do you want to do with your life? Tell me. I said, I'm going to be a musician. And he goes, you can't do that. And I had a choice to make. I said, either I'm going to listen to my father or I'm going to prove him wrong. Now, it just so happened, luckily, or I was fortunate enough that God gave me a strong enough will, and it pissed me off to go and prove him wrong. And I realized not everybody's got that strong will already in them, but you can have it. You can choose it. You can choose it. It might be uncomfortable at first. And as we know, going where the uncomfortability is where the growth is. You grow by being uncomfortable. And like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, conflict doesn't have to be ugly. It doesn't have to be ugly. It just has to be true. It has to be real. If you feel it, it's real. It's real for you. It's on your mind. It's on your heart. It's on your spirit. It needs to come out. Does that make sense? If you guys are vibing with this, let me know how you're feeling. Give me a what's up or say something. Let me know you are with me and that you are here. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment box below. But it's so powerful, guys, because like I said, I didn't intend or plan on giving this message. Had a conversation with the gentleman, like I said, I grew up with, and him saying, man, you've stayed true to yourself. And I was like, That's what's up. Like, I never really thought that much about it, honestly. I didn't. And then being in this summit that I was in for the weekend, when she said, one of the ladies, one of the panel speakers, she said, you know, people love you to the degree that you love yourself. And I said, that's accurate. And then when the gentleman that was the relationship coach was taking just Q&A, everybody had a different challenge, but everybody's solution was partially the same, which was heal here first. Find the love in you first so that people will be attracted to the vibe, because that's how you bring in your tribe. When your vibe is radiant, it's radiant because you're in love and passionate and excited about what you do. So if you haven't found that thing, or you haven't found that interest, that's okay, because the majority of people have not. But you got to seek that out. You got to seek out your truth. I don't normally tell people what they got to do and don't got to do. But one of the wisest things that my dad ever said to me, he said, live a life with no regrets. And I would tell you to live a life with no regrets. I cannot imagine being on my deathbed with all these gifts and talents still in me that I never brought to the world because I was too busy listening to the 85%. Oh, don't do that. Please, 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 please. So many people are doing that. If you want to love people, right, that's what we're commanded to do. Love your neighbor as yourself. I would tell you and encourage you to find the love within yourself. And you only find the love within yourself by being around yourself. I didn't know that a lot of people were afraid of that, to be by themselves. I enjoy my alone time. I'm actually an extroverted person. I have a infatuation, you could say, or a love with people. I love people, and sometimes I can hate people too, but I love people for the majority of the time. But I say that saying that I get it that not everybody is social. I mean, I understand that might be another area of discomfort, and you may have to work your way through that. And communication, not everybody's got the same communication skills. However, again, if you feel it, if you think it, it's in your spirit. And if you don't release it, if you don't get it out, it's going to just continue to kind of eat away at you like a poison, or it's going to be toxic to your spirit. It's going to be toxic. So you want to be able to communicate and express what is really going on with you to somebody and really get that clear. Number two, you want to really find what you not only are called to do in this life, but you want to find something that really brings you joy. And if you're not doing what brings you joy, then what's the point of even being here? I know you didn't ask to be here, nor did I. I didn't ask and say, hey, can you sit me down? I mean, that never happened, but I'm just saying I'm here. And if I'm going to be here, if you're going to be here, if we're here, doesn't it make sense that we want to get the most out of life? Doesn't it make sense that we want to find the joys out of life? Doesn't that make sense that we want to help as many people we can, because that's going to make us feel really good, and we're going to help a lot of people in life? Doesn't that make sense? I really appreciate you. I really want to give this message from the heart today, because BrandBuilder Economy, what struck me, and what a lot of people, they're like, well, what do you do? So BrandBuilder Economy, we work with what I call edutainment legacy-driven brands. You know, the Will Smiths, the Rocks, the Oprahs, the Mel Robbins, the Brene Browns, like people that want to build these very, very unique brands. And what came to me and what I realized was you can't build an edutainment legacy-driven brand if you don't love yourself. And that struck a nerve. And I'll give you this last example, this last story, and I got to get out of here. Buddy of mine was working with Peter Diamandis, or however you say that gentleman's name. He's like a science guy, rocket guy, venture capital guy, tech guy, all that stuff. So my buddy is very left brain, you know, very intelligent, very genius oriented. And he comes to me and he goes, you know, I'm about to give a TED talk. Now, something else that's really interesting about my friend, he's a skateboarder, and I found out he does hip hop breakdance. So he says, Cauveé, I'm about to give a TED talk. I know you gave a TED talk. You have any pointers for me? Can you help me? I said, sure. So we're talking about his TED talk and what he wants to do and all that. And he's giving me the details. I said, you know what you should do? What would be really cool? He goes, what? I said, why don't you open your TED talk with a break dance? I've never seen that before. I said, you could open it up that way. And he goes, I can't do that. Why not? What do you mean? Like, why not? He goes, it doesn't fit. Fit what? Now, technically what he's saying is it doesn't fit the paradigm. But he said it doesn't fit. What do you mean it doesn't fit? You're going to captivate the audience with you breakdancing, doing something they've never seen, and then you're going to pop up and start talking that tech talk. Not TED talk, that technology talk. This dude is like a Thai Asian American, so people would be blown away by that. Not because he's Thai and he's Asian and that he does that, but I'm just saying you haven't seen that before. I hadn't seen that before. Somebody break dance and then get up and start talking tech and venture capital and science, and yeah, I was like, people would eat that up. He said, I can't do that. When did you set these limits on yourself? I don't care whether you're 10 years old. I don't care whether you're over 90. When did you start putting these limits on yourself of what you can and cannot do? Living in somebody else's paradigm. Don't listen to the 85%. Make me do my Jim Rohn. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you want to have more love with yourself, you've got to be loving to yourself. Do things that bring you joy. Be different. Be unique. Be authentic. Be relatable. Be focused on serving people and impact. That is what a legacy-driven brand is. The people you admire have found that in themselves. You've got to find that for you. And you find that, you seek that out by asking yourself questions and spending time with you. I love you. I appreciate you. I hope this message served you today. Like I said, I did not intend on giving this message today. If I can be of service, if I can be of help, if I can provide some guidance, provide some support, provide some love, whatever it is that you need to go to the next level with your life, reach out to me and let me know. I'm here. I'm here and I'm willing. Facts. All right. I love you. I appreciate you. And until the next time, it's your boy Cauveé. You already know what it is. Boost.